Sci-Fi Surprise time with Film 35, Hercules and the Captive Women. Yes, I am continuing my journey through all 50 films in this sci-fi collection, and it's another Hercules film. I've had back-to-back Hercules lunacy. That's gonna fall. Hopefully that won't fall. So, with Hercules and the Captive Women, this one's from 1961, and so, of course, the first question is... Oh, wait, no, before the first question, I actually, after watching the movie and, you know, really thinking about the title, or not even thinking that hard about the title, I had to go look up the original Italian title, because I'm like, you know, this is not what I would have called the movie. And it's Hercule, whatever Hercules is in Italian, Hercule alla conquista di Atlantida. Yeah, forgive me for my horrible Italian, but if you understand Italian or have, you know, a good idea of what maybe conquista means, that's not really, you know, what this movie is about. So it's not, there is one captive woman, but there are not captive women. That's just not in the movie. Like, that's just not part of the movie. So I don't know if there's a huge draw. They thought that there was a huge draw to that, but it wasn't there. So anyway, and then of course the first question is this a science fiction movie? And arguably no. The hardest argument, best argument is no. It's a mythology movie, so, and this one definitely has supernatural elements. You could argue for science fiction, just as with Hercules versus the Moon Men, you could argue for science fiction. This one actually has stronger science fiction elements, but I'd be less likely. It has one science fiction element, but I'd be less likely to call it a science fiction film over Hercules and the Moon Man. This is, you know, a sword and sandals movie, and to be honest, it was not that much fun to watch, because it really has a comedy theme to it, and oddly, I think this is one of the earlier Hercules movies, but it's about Hercules, like, Hercules is married, he has a grown son, and, you know, and he's actually not even really interested in helping, you know, there's this, you know, this apparent enemy, this foe, they have to go, you know, fight or attack or whatever, and he doesn't even want to go. There's a fair amount of scenes where Hercules just lazing about, just sleeping, just like not doing anything, or being drugged, you know, and then he's sleeping because he's drugged. So it's like, that's not really the image that comes to mind when I think of Hercules. Like, I can't think of Hercules saying, you know, I'm going to sit this one out. You know, do your best, I'm going to hang out at home. It's like, really? Hercules? I don't know, maybe I didn't get to that part of Hercules in mythology. So that was really weird. And I didn't like it because it was sort of, there was a lot of comedy elements, including having a little person, so, and used for a lot of comedic elements. I think that's pretty, you know, it's very different now. Well, it's not, in terms of the fact that I don't think it's appropriate, but I think it was maybe less, you know, generally, people spoke up about it less probably than they do now, and people know better. So anyway, so that just didn't work for me, and I didn't understand it. To be honestly, the dubbing was pretty bad, especially in the big sort of setup of what the story was and what the foe was, and there's this vision and you can't see anything because it's like all red, and it's literally like the entire screen is just red, and something's supposed to be happening and you're supposed to be able to see it, but you can't because it's just all red. And I don't know if that's just deterioration over time or what, but, you know, that was sort of the big lead up to, and then it didn't make sense, the scene discussing how they're going to deal with this. You know, it wasn't clear who was who, it wasn't clear who was talking, and then it was completely, like, it felt like there was no way possible they'd be able to find the enemy, whomever the enemy may be, who came in this vision. Like, it's just like, we're just gonna go out sailing, we're just gonna take the boat out and, like, find them, and then they do, and they're just like, well, they don't, I don't know, it's kind of like, it's weird, because it's kind of like one of those being a sword and sandals movie, it is actually probably more sword and sorcery, you know, because it's sort of a prophecy, you know, and then needing to be attending to that and stuff like that. There were a couple scenes that had me howling that were the science. There was sort of 2 science fiction elements. And one had me howling, it was so funny, and the other one was kind of creepy, and arguably what makes it science fiction, but seriously, not really, it's not really science fiction, so didn't really work for me, you know, and again, just the image of Hercules being sort of a bit lazy, and like, he, not unstrong, like when he set his mind to it, it was, he could do it, but it didn't piece together very well, and there were definitely some abrupt cuts, so I'm sure a lot was taken out, although this is an hour 35, so I don't know how long the original, or you know, version would have been, because, you know, just wasn't there, and again, the dubbing was pretty bad, you just couldn't follow who was talking, so some of the better elements, I would say, is that, of course, with these films, there's always, like, an amazing, like, fabulous woman, and this one definitely has that, a woman in power, that she's just fabulous and just looks amazing, and she just, you know, is just awesome. Of course, she's the evil, of course, right? Like, because, you know, so, but there was just lots of stuff, like, lead up to this, and then we don't see that part, and then it's just the aftermath, and then you're just like, are you kidding me? So, anyway, but if that's your cup of tea, it is available on, it is public domain, so it is available on archive.org, and I will put the link in the description below if you perchance want to watch Hercules and the Captive Women. I don't know why you would, but there was one great B-movie moment that just had me howling. Just, oh, it was so, I rewound it and watched it again. It was so funny. And that actually might be a first. That might be a first. No, I think some of the first Gamera film, I did that with some of the stuff. I was like, what's going on? Anyway, 35th film, wasn't a winner. Was not a winner. So, let's see what's next. Hopefully it's not I need a reprieve from Hercules. I need some actual science fiction, please. Let's see what's next. I feel like I'm trying to be choosy. Okay, it's this one. This is the one that's calling out to me. Ooh, my hat's knocking over. Oh! The Wild Women of Wongo. I love that title. Again, these ones I'm always worried. But after the Planet of the Prehistoric Women, Voyage to the Planet of the Prehistoric Women, I really like that one. So, I don't know. And it's Jean Hawkshaw. Nope. Hawkshaw. I don't know. So 1968, I think it says. Yes. No, 58 and color. Ooh, that's interesting. So we'll see how that goes. And again, I'm trying to get this done by the end of the year. It's feeling like it's possible. I'm not going to do the calendar math, even though I already did. But I'm forgetting it and just sort of going with it. And so far, that's been going since I picked back up. I think I've been at a pretty good pace. So I think I'm on track to finish these by the end of the year. Yeah! This is actually one of the first ones I actually thought, maybe I'll just skip it. It obviously isn't science fiction, so why bother? But creature of habit, so I didn't. So I watched it, and it was not science fiction. I was right! Hopefully the Wild Women of Wongo is. Although, what the heck is that going to be about? Like, how is that going to be science fiction? I don't know. I'll find out whether I want it or not. Thanks for watching. Oh, goodness gracious.